It is the last episode of Tisha Talks Live at 4:45, and happy holidays to you and to yours. And I'm joined by my very special guest. This is Derek Mildred with Results Formula, joining me from Melbourne, Australia. Derek, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here and spending the time with me this evening or your afternoon or morning. Good to have you.
Hi, Tisha. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, it's 10:45 in the morning and looking forward to a great session with you guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you are tuning in live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on YouTube, make sure you drop us a comment, say where you're from, say hello. And if you have any questions throughout this entire broadcast, even if you're watching the replay, Derek and I are both tagged on it. So make sure you ask away. All right. So we want to make sure that you get your questions answered, because today we're going to be talking about how to gain traction on LinkedIn. And Derek has definitely made a name for himself on LinkedIn. Derek, share with us your big news announcement that you just found out.
My big news is yesterday I was named as one of Ahmad Iman's top 50 most impactful people on LinkedIn, and that's from over 8,000 people who were nominated. So I was absolutely delighted with that yesterday, and it's big news. So really happy about that.
Yeah. Top 50 out of 8,000
yes.
people. That's incredible. I'm going to give you a big round of applause, Derek. That's amazing. Amazing. Congratulations, my friend. We have someone joining us from LinkedIn user. Not sure who that is quite yet. So give us your name too in another comment, but also joining us from Melbourne, Australia. So you have fans.
Fantastic.
Great. Okay. Well, we're going to get into this real quick. Before we get into this, I just want to give a big shout out to my sponsors, Gateway Bank and the Mighty PC, for helping to sponsor this show and the events that I'm hosting, or along with First Option Lending. And then just give everyone just an update that if you are in the Phoenix, Arizona area, I'm getting ready to host Social Connect Phoenix back up again on January 18th in downtown Chandler. Would love to see you there. You can find more information at socialconnectphx.com. All right, Derek, let's get after it with LinkedIn tips. So what is LinkedIn to you? I would love to hear, how long have you been on LinkedIn, and what has LinkedIn done for you, and what is it to you?
Okay, officially I signed up for LinkedIn way back in 2004. I was actually one of the first 2 million people to subscribe to the platform or to open up an account with the platform, a free account with the platform. However, I did very little with it until 2014. So 10 years later, 10 years went by. And what literally happened was a friend of mine who I was sharing an office with walked into the office, and she said she had just heard LinkedIn described as the professional or the business version of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should have another look at that. And so I managed to find my old original login details, logged in to discover that I had a low 207 connections. And that's when my real journey on LinkedIn started. So in 2014. And I was building websites at the time. I was doing SEO. I was getting people onto page one on Google. And I was working with clients all over the country. And one of the things that I did to generate more clients back then in 2014 is I started writing articles. And I would literally just publish on LinkedIn 2 articles a week. And what would happen, I would get some interaction with those articles. I'd get some people who liked and others that would comment, etc. And I didn't know it at the time, but by writing those articles, by sharing with people what they should do, what they should have on their websites, talking about their pain points and the solutions to those pain points, I was actually positioning myself as an authority in that particular industry. And so this started to generate leads for me. I would get messages inside the inbox. People would say to me, oh, we would like to set up a call with you and talk to you about a website. And what I discovered was, when I got on a call with those guys, those people, their minds were already 95% made up that they would go ahead with me, provided my pricing was within their expectations. So naturally, I would turn around to them during the conversation. I'd say, well, have you got a particular budget that you want me to work within? And they'd say, yeah, if you can do us a website for this. And I say, well, I'll have a look at it and I'll give you a quote. And of course, the quote would go back to them within their price range, and we'd do the deal and I'd build them a website. And so I wound up publishing over 100 articles, and these articles generated leads for me to build websites for probably the next couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
literally
incredible.
just by publishing articles. And it was just a really interesting beginning because then what happened, I got more comfortable with LinkedIn. I got more, basically more used to using LinkedIn, more competent with using LinkedIn, I should say. And that's where everything just started to take off. And I describe LinkedIn as the world's largest database of businesses, their owners, and their employees. And when you think about it, that's exactly what it is. And interestingly enough, it's just crossed over 800 million users. So that's a pretty decent sized database.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You could spend all your time on LinkedIn. Derek, do you use other platforms, or is LinkedIn primarily like this is what I use? This is
I
where I put my
primarily
time.
use LinkedIn. I do have a Facebook profile and pages on Facebook. I actually also have an Instagram page, but I've neglected it for a long time. I have a YouTube channel, but LinkedIn is my primary focus.
Mhm.
And the thing that I like about LinkedIn is it has a very authentic, a very genuine community. I've made some amazing friends, including yourself, on LinkedIn, just by basically building relationships with people, just by having conversations with people. So it's an extraordinary platform.
It's amazing. So I want to learn from you, because you've asked me this question about like what are some common mistakes that you see people making with LinkedIn? And I'm sure
LinkedIn
you
in
have so
jail.
many of them. Or is it that kind of like your story? I remember someone gave me an invite to join LinkedIn back in like 2005, and I was all sure I'll play. So I went ahead on it, but I didn't do anything either with it until like 2018.
Yep.
So it's like I think that so many of us have this misconception that, oh, it's just for resumes and career building and all of that. But I see so many business owners, so many entrepreneurs, like you said, that are utilizing LinkedIn.
Well, originally it started out as a website that would support your resume. Okay,
Hmm.
so it was a website for job seekers, and you could have everything on your LinkedIn profile that would support your resume or that you did not have on your resume. Okay, so it was like an extension of your resume, so to speak. And then what happened was people started to realize the business potential with LinkedIn and also what it meant to people in business. So, what I mean by that is when people want to know more about you, they receive an email from you, or they've seen an article about you, or your website, or your content, your post, etc., or even on your business card, and you have your link to your LinkedIn profile. So people want to know more about you, and then they go to your LinkedIn profile. Then the question becomes, what are they going to see?
Hmm.
Okay. And what are they going to see that's going to entice them to want to know more, that's going to interest them enough to want to read further? And so that's where the value of having a really good, attractive, eye catching, appealing LinkedIn profile starts to stand out, because effectively everybody is their own individual brand.
Hmm.
Okay, and so it's gaining a lot more traction. It's growing in importance and in usability, basically to anybody who is in business, whether they're working for other people or whether they're working for themselves, regardless of what industry they're in. It's a strong brand building and brand positioning tool.
Oh, I know. I know. I know it's helped me with my brand. I know we have Nat Handler. He's joining us on Facebook. So it's saying that this is not connecting on LinkedIn, but I have people joining from LinkedIn. So I have no idea what's going on technology wise.
Right.
Um, but I know Nat has a comment right here that just says LinkedIn allows you to build credibility, create a meaningful network, and glean insider expertise from established experts in your industry and others, but it only works if you provide value. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think about
Absolutely.
that,
Completely
Derek?
agree. In fact, four of the most valuable, the most important words that I learned about LinkedIn, and I mention this to a lot of people, and in the audience, you might like to write this down, is add value without selling.
Yes.
Okay? Add value without selling. And what literally happens, um, most people know what it's like when you receive a sales pitch inside your inbox and how people react to that. And the reason people react to a sales pitch inside their inbox I don't want to say negatively, but they certainly, a lot of them are not interested in it, is basically because it's too early in the conversation. Okay. So instead, what one should do is add value without selling. And when you do that, you build on that professional relationship with your audience. You position yourself as an authority within your industry, as a respected advisor that people can go to for advice. They can ask questions, they can get the answers that they're looking for, the help that they need, instead of a salesperson who's just interested in getting the next sale. Okay. And it's
Right.
a big difference. Yeah.
So I
So
have a
add value
question for
without selling.
you. I had a
Sure.
question for you too, Derek. So what do you think about people who immediately hit your inbox and it's not so much that they are trying to sell you, but it's like, let's speed this up and let's book the call. Let's get on the call right now. Like, here's my Calendly link. Go ahead and schedule 15 minutes with me. What do you think about that? Because I can go either way, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
There's a right way and there's a wrong way of doing it. Okay. The wrong way of doing it is to, pardon me, the wrong way of doing it is to send somebody a request to connect. You very vague in why you want to connect with them. And then as soon as you're connected with that thank you message or thank you for connecting message, it's bang, you want to get on a call with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, the right way to do it is to, when you send somebody a request to connect message, give them a reason why you want to connect with them, number one. Okay. And that reason can be even a mutual area of interest that you've noticed from looking at their LinkedIn profile. Okay. But give them a reason, give them a personalized message, tell them why you want to connect with them. And then once you've connected with them, send them a thank you for connecting message.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just a polite thank you for connecting message, and start to build on that relationship. And then when the time is right, then offer to get onto a call to collaborate, to talk about how you might be able to help each other, etc. And that can all be done without selling. And that's the key, because whenever you try to sell on LinkedIn, as I mentioned earlier, it's too early in the conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is you get on these calls with people and it's immediately their presentation. You're like, I thought we were having coffee.
Yeah.
I didn't know this is what it was, but I mean, you know what it
Well,
is.
the other thing too is when you get on a call with somebody, I actually say to people in the PS, because as you probably know, most people, researchers indicated that most people read the PS. So I
Mm-hmm.
put a PS on my message. If it's okay with you, I'd like to keep the call in the no sales pitch zone.
Mm, I love that tip. All right,
Okay.
good.
And yeah, that gets me on a lot of calls. And I get on a call and I just talk about what I do. People talk about what they do. We see if we can collaborate. We see if we want to talk further, and then we'll take it from there. But even in that first call, in 99% of calls that I get on the first call with, there's no sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's literally about building up relationships. And once you figure out the approach that works, I describe LinkedIn as not only a database, but it's a tool that you use to get the conversation started,
Right,
to
right.
build on those relationships so you can take the conversation to the next level, which is actually away from LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, the first call, I don't believe should ever be a sales pitch.
No, or the first visit or any of it.
No.
I agree. I agree. So I wanted to ask you this question too, Derek. So what should people be doing more of? So somebody is getting on LinkedIn. They're not quite sure what they're supposed to do. They're connecting with people. Are there some tips that you would recommend of, hey, you should be doing this pretty consistently
Mhm.
when you get on every day, aim to do this? Some tips?
Okay, so first of all, start with your profile. Make sure your profile looks okay. Make sure it presents you in a nice way towards people who are going to open up your profile when they want to know more about you. Okay, so ask yourself the question: when somebody wants to know more about me and they look at my LinkedIn profile, what are they going to see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's number one. Make sure your profile is up to scratch. Number two would be just interact, like and comment on people's posts. And when you comment, try to make those comments meaningful. Okay. And when you interact, that's the start of a conversation with people. And if you really want to build up your connections with people that you can really have good professional relationships with, then interact with their content first. Like and comment on their content first. Do that several times so they've got an idea who you are, what you do, what you're about, etc. They might have even looked at your LinkedIn profile, and then send them a message to connect.
Right.
Okay, so interact first, then send them a message to connect. Okay, and you can even say to them in your request to connect message, oh, I've been following and interacting with your content lately, really enjoy it, thought I'd reach out to you and invite you to connect.
Yeah. No, those are some great tips. I know we have Russ Johns, who is joining us on LinkedIn, saying, love the content you shared, Tisha. Great recommendation, Derek. Awesome. I know. I think that people maybe still want that. It's just overnight. Like, I get on LinkedIn, I comment on a couple of people's posts. It goes gangbusters. I'm getting all these sales coming in. Oh, it's not working. I'm not on it. I'm jumping ship. I'm jumping to TikTok.
Well, let me put it to you this way. There's a little thing, but a very important thing called lifetime client value.
Yes. Lifetime client value.
And what it literally is about is how much is a client worth to you and your business over 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and repeat transactions, versus how much is a customer worth to your business with just one transaction. Okay. And if you think about LinkedIn and building relationships with lifetime client value in mind, you'll do far, far better than what you will if you're thinking about just that one fast, quick sale.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes. So Royce Blake joining us also on Facebook, saying, found you guys. LinkedIn is a little wonky.
Well, that's the other thing about LinkedIn. Occasionally it has its moments.
I will say it's kind of like the redheaded stepchild a little bit. Like even on StreamYard, Russ Johns, we could talk about this for days. Like LinkedIn has its own, we don't do this. You can't comment off of StreamYard, for instance, off here. Like there's just some different things that LinkedIn does. So
it's usually I would describe it as a little bit conservative. Okay. But I also think that's a good thing in the way that they go about things. They manage it quite well. There's a lot that you can do. It's just a matter of getting comfortable with it and understanding what you can do and what you shouldn't do.
Right. Good. Hey, we have another comment here from Mark saying, great approach aspect. Love the information. Hey, thanks so much, Mark, for joining us today. And if you guys have any other questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. I know we have a couple more minutes left over. And okay, so other thing for you, Derek, as far as content, because, we talk about content is king. There should be consistency with your content. Are there some tips you can share with the audience on what types of content people should be posting, how often they should be posting? Because I could get into a whole discussion just about content and what people keep telling me. You should be posting like 20 times a day. Really? 20 times a day? So please enlighten us. Tell us, what do you think about content? How often should we be posting it? And then, what kinds of content are great content to post on LinkedIn?
Okay, so the key with content is, number one, add value without selling. Okay, and it's the same with content as your inbox. Anytime you try and sell with your content, unless you've basically earned the right to, you'll find that you will push your audience away. So instead of selling, add value without selling, and you'll start to build your audience. You'll start to build on the relationship, the communication, the interaction with them. Think about your audience's pain points and the solutions that you can provide to those pain points. Okay, so if you have a particular target audience, target market, or niche that you prefer to work with, what are the challenges, the problems that audience experiences, and what are the solutions that you can help them with those very challenges or problems? And some people would think themselves, well, hang on, that's my business. I don't want to provide them all that information because that's what I want to charge them for. But here's what happens. When you provide them with solutions to those pain points, you're building on that know, like, and trust factor. You're building on that relationship with them. And you will literally get people who will reach out to you in your inbox, or they'll connect with you first, or they'll send you an email. And they might say, I saw your post on such and such. I'm going through that right now. I need to talk to you further.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lead.
That is a lead. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lead. And that's literally what happens. So think about people's pain points and how you can talk about the solutions to those very pain points. The other thing that I would suggest is, before you post, interact with other people's content with a like and a comment. Okay. LinkedIn wants you to interact with people's content. Okay. So if you interact with other people's content with a like and a comment before you post, LinkedIn will start to push your content out to a wider audience. So you'll get more interaction with your audience. And then if you really want to be strategic or smart about that, then you would interact with other people's content, other people who are part of your target audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you can search for people by their content, by their target audience and their content. And then finally, I would suggest, with regards to how often should you post, start by just posting. Try to post a couple of times a week, say 2 or 3 times a week. Build that up to posting once a day, and just be consistent with it. And the key is not so much how often that you post. The key is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the key, is consistency. And then finally, a lot of you type conversation. You will find anybody who starts every sentence with the word I, turn people off.
Right.
Start your sentences with the word you or your, okay, and you'll get a lot more people who will warm to you.
That's good. I know we have a question here from Mark saying quality versus quantity in the content, right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I see people that really are hammering in that you need to be posting 4, 5, 6 times a day. But if it is a lot of I content and it really isn't giving value, or it's more of a look at me type post, you really are going to lose people. They're gonna be like, oh, another one,
And that's
another
exactly
one.
what happens. You with the I sentences, the sentences that start with I, you'll gain some traction initially, and then it will fall off. And I've seen it happen several times. So yes, it's Mark is correct. It's quality over quantity. And what literally happens is, when you start by putting out more and more quality content, and you're doing that consistently, then in the case of some influencers that I know, they will post several times a day, many times a day, but they've already got that quality. They've already figured out what they can share and post, which provides quality. And so they've worked their way up to that. But initially, just to get started, 2 or 3 times a week, and then build it up from there. But consistency and quality is the key.
Absolutely. Yes, even Nat Handler echoing that consistency is absolutely the key to social media success.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would say too. So one thing that I do, Derek, is every Friday I do a video, and I hashtagged it, and I've had people that are like, I look for your videos every Friday because it's a start to my weekend.
Yeah.
And so it is almost like coming up with that predictability of, okay, I know Tisha goes live at this time. I know that she does a video at these days, and just making sure that people can find you, because it's just like our favorite TV show. I know, Derek, we were kind of laughing about Selling Sunset,
Yes.
but I would bet, because Derek's a big fan, but I would bet that if that was just on like primetime TV and it was something that you really liked watching, you would make an effort to go find it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would find it. It's a schedule. It's like you're teaching people that this is when I post. This is what you can expect from me and my brand.
Absolutely. One of the things that you'll also find with content is you start to build up a following. You start to build up a group of people who regularly interact with your content. And it's always good to, and I always recommend that you reply to their comments as quickly as possible, even if it's within a day or two, but just reply to their comments, because you're building on that relationship with them. And it's interesting, because when you post content consistently, and then you might take a break, and this has happened in my experience and many other people I know, you go away for a weekend, or you just take a couple of days away from social media or something like that, because you know it's still going to be there when you come back.
Right.
And you come back and you've got all these messages in your inbox. I haven't seen you for a while. Are you okay? Everything all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Especially because you took 2 days away, or you enjoyed a weekend. So, yeah, it's building on those relationships with people.
I always set the expectation, especially because, holidays are coming up. I was telling Derek, even in the green room, that I'm going to be off for a little bit. Like, I'm going to be on, but not really super active because I have family coming in town. So I always do set the expectation of I'm going to be unplugging for a little bit. And I think that my audience especially is like, good for you. Take the break. We'll see you when you get back. Like, they're like, we'll miss you, but we understand. So, I've had some comments of, do you think that's going to mess with your feed and your likes? And I'm like, I don't really care.
Well, let me put it to you this way. It'll still be there when you come back.
Exactly.
Your audience will still be there when you come back, although some of them will probably take some time off too, and everybody deserves a little bit of a break. And there's times of the year when people want to spend quality time with families and friends, etc. And this is that time of the year especially. Ironically, there is still a large audience that will still log in every day even during holiday times. I had a particular case many years ago, about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I put up a split test logo post on Boxing Day. And it was just 2 logos, and I was undecided about these 2 logos for my business and which one to use. And I put up a split test of the thing, and on Boxing Day, and it was my first viral post, and it just exploded. And I had no idea that was going to happen. And the funny part about it was, my logo for my business has a phoenix, okay, and I put a circle for one of these logos. I put a circle around the phoenix, and then I just had the phoenix on its own, and both of them had my business name, Results Formula, underneath. And so I put up this split test, and within a day, it's got over 10,000 views, and it's got all of these comments on it. And I'm reading through the comments, and then occasionally this comment would pop up, which would say, "You can't restrict the phoenix." What? You can't hold down the phoenix. You can't hold back the phoenix. I think, what the hell are you talking about? And it turned out because I put this circle around it, because of the myth or the legend of the phoenix, because I put a circle around it, I was holding it back, kind of thing. And so all these comments came out about it. And this all happened between Boxing Day and New Year's Day, which I would never have guessed or never expected. So probably my point is, if you want to take some time off, do so. It'll still be there when you come back. If you still want to post on LinkedIn or experiment with different posts or put up something different, even your celebrations, the times you're having with your family, share it with your audience. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll learn from the experience. You'll gain from the experience. At the very least, you'll gain some confidence from the experience and just build on that following from there.
Right. Hey, great comment here coming in from Royce. He said, it's a great way to get away from crazy Uncle Joe.
Yeah, you can do that. Although I wouldn't pull out the laptop at the Christmas dinner table, though.
I just have to say, too, that there are posts like you, Derek, like even your Phoenix post, that you're going to post something and you're going to just walk away from it. And you are going to come back to it and you're going to be like, what the heck? Like, I remember earlier this year, my family and I were on vacation and we were unplugged. But there was just one moment where I took a bunch of photos of us hiking at 5 a.m. with like this gorgeous Sedona mountains and my kids walking through, like they just had this like cactus path, and just took some great photos. And I just said, it's 5 a.m. This is my 5 a.m. wake up call. And this is the view that I've got. And that post went viral. And I hadn't been on for a good week because I was just like, I'm really not on, but I just at least wanted to share this magnificent view with you, you know? And so you guys you never know what your post will do, who's watching it. And I love to say this, like, the results of what you see of, oh, okay, 20 people liked it, 10 people commented on it, but hundreds of people saw it. You never know if that is your person, if that's the person that's like consuming your content kind of quietly in the background, and they're just waiting for the right time to approach you to say, I really could use your help, or I see you, I like you, I want to work with you. How do we make that work? Right? How do we make that
Exactly.
happen?
It's the connection with your audience.
It
And that's
is.
the key. The metrics, or vanity metrics, as I've heard them described, look, they're exciting when you get some big numbers or some good numbers. That's exciting, and I understand that with anybody, but they're not everything. Because I can tell you something right now. The metrics from your post from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, nobody remembers.
I know. They don't?
Nobody remembers.
Really?
No,
Oh,
nobody remembers. Your post that you put up a couple of days ago, we're lucky if they even remember that.
yes. Yes.
Okay. So, and this is where consistency plays a role. Okay. So just be consistent with your posts, connect with your audience, reply to their comments, and just put the content up there, and you'll start to build on those relationships with your audience.
Right. Some great tips. I know Mark's saying, haha, brilliant story on the Phoenix.
Ooh,
I'm sure there's just some fun comments that you got too. If I can say something that really helped me, Derek, in connecting with my audience further, is a couple weeks ago, and I actually have it as my featured post. I was like, I love this post. I want to put this up because so many people are like, who is this girl? Who is this guy that I'm following? And if they do happen to go to my profile, there's a post that I did a couple weeks ago on just a get to know me post. And it
yeah,
was just a, hey, thanks so much. I've hit this many, friends on LinkedIn. I think it's time you get to know a little bit about me. Dogs barking, by the way, in the back. And I shared, I'm a mom, I've got dogs, I've got this. I just shared some like highlights of my life, how I got to where I am, things like that. And at the end, I said, I would love to know more about you because this is so much more about diving in deeper and not just being connections on a surface level, but actually really getting to know you. And I was so surprised, Derek. Not only did my second connections and third connections comment back with something fun, like I said that I have such a big love for Mexican chorizo burritos and dark chocolate.
right. Yeah,
And I had so many people are like, I love Mexican burritos. I love dark chocolate, but it was something that they connected to me.
yeah,
And I had people that were commenting, but I also had a fair amount of people that sent me direct messages and like poured their whole life out on a direct
yeah.
message. And that was like so touching, so moving that one post could impact people to take this next big step with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to just encourage people, if you haven't done a post like that where it's like, get to know me a little bit more aside from just what you see. It's such a great exercise. You get to use your writing skills, you get to go back into your down memory lane. um, it was such a great experience, and I've
I
actually
love
had
that.
clients that I encouraged them. I was like, I want you to write this get to know me post, put a fun photo with it, and use that as one of your featured posts because people are going to want to see you. They're going to want to know who you are and who they're interacting with.
I would actually say that this time of the year, with Christmas coming up, is the perfect time to put up a get to know me post.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea. I really do. That's awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I know, Mark. Mark, I'm not sure if you're commenting on the Mexican burrito or the dark chocolate. Either way, big fan, but like, who doesn't love that?
Yeah, I mean, we all want to know a little bit more about the people that we enjoy interacting with, and so some of the personal stuff, like the get to know me style post, is exactly what people warm to.
They do. They do.
Mm,
And like you mentioned earlier, the biggest mistake that I see people making is that they stay on LinkedIn. They never take it to the next level. They never say, "Hey, Derek." I mean, Derek's in Melbourne. I'm in Arizona, and we've already
mhm,
connected offline. We've gotten on Zoom calls before, and then I've asked him to be on the show with me. But we've already taken that next step of don't just let it sit on LinkedIn. There's a
yeah,
whole bigger, much bigger conversation and a bigger relationship if you take it offline. Like use LinkedIn as a starting point, but then
yes,
make sure that you move the relationship off of
yeah.
it.
And that shift is the key when you start to think, okay, how do I use LinkedIn? Okay, it's a database, it's a tool to start a conversation, to build the relationship so that I can take that conversation to the next level away from LinkedIn. When you look at it like that, then it becomes a very effective business tool.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Derek, I know we went a little over time here. I want to give you
Fine.
some time for a shameless plug and how people can connect with you. I'll put your LinkedIn link up here. If you are not connected to Derek, I highly, highly recommend it. Great guy to know.
Feel
But
free
Derek,
to
take
reach
it
out.
away.
Feel free to reach out and connect with me. Please send me a message though when you connect with me, because I get a ton of requests to connect with me every day, and the messages stand out. Okay, so just mention Tisha Talks, and I'd love to connect.
Oh, perfect. All right. So there you have it. Go ahead and connect with him on LinkedIn. And if you're not on LinkedIn and you want to get on LinkedIn, or maybe you're hearing Derek talk about the benefits of being on LinkedIn, then I would also recommend reaching out to him because he's got so many great tips and tools and tricks for you to use. But thank you so much, Derek. I appreciate you so much and your time. And happy, happy holidays to you and yours, and to all of our guests who are tuning in live. Thank you so much for being here with us, commenting. Mark, yes, Guti, Mark Guti, Teresa burritos, dark chocolate. Yeah, you're my friend. You're my type of people.
Definitely. All right, thank you, Tisha. It's been an absolute pleasure. Happy to help as always, and look forward to catching up in the new year. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season to you and your family, and to everybody here joining us. It's been
Thank you
great.
so much. Thank you so much, Derek. All right, we'll see everybody later, and happy holidays to you. All right,
Okay,
bye.
thank you. Bye for now.